Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. I am starting this effort of mentioning some of the stories that I went through throughout my life and outreach and what we call da'wah here in the United States, visiting churches, colleges, universities, schools, and different places, basically trying to reach out, teach about who we are, especially after 9/11, the necessity of us building bridges and getting to know each other from each other rather than from Hollywood and TV and Van Damme and Chuck Norris movies, if I might say. So this story happened to me, and from this story really Peace Ambassadors USA idea came to exist. And from there, there were many stories before, of course, and many stories after, but I wanted to come up with some of these stories, reaching out to you to let you know that we can build bridges, we can respect each other, live with each other, learn how to coexist while we all have different religions and different backgrounds. My faith teaches me that you have your faith, I have mine. Whether you become a Muslim or not is not in my hand. That's between you and your Lord. But my job is to let you know who I am, teach you about Islam, the peaceful nature of Islam, teach you about Islam that does not condone or support terrorism. Like in any other society or any religion, every society has its own black sheep, has its own bad apples. We do the same. So they do not represent that faith. KKK does not represent Christianity. Daesh and Al-Qaeda do not represent Islam, and likewise. So basically today's story, again, to teach you that if we reach out to each other, and we will learn how to respect each other and end up defending each other even though we do not accept each other's way of life or even religious backgrounds. So this story happened to me when I was a full-time student at one of the universities, and we were taking an upper division English class, literature class, and like I usually do, I go to the professor, I give him or her a package that has a translation of the meaning of the Quran. It has some CDs and pamphlets and booklets. The idea behind that is to let them know, teach them about who we are, about who I am, what my background, my religion is, from me, directly from me, rather than them learning from somewhere else. That was the main purpose. So I gave it to him, and he thanked me, and I just left. The next class, he was like, "Hey, Yasser, you got a few minutes after class?" I said, "Of course." We sat down, recess time, 5-10 minutes in his office. All I did, I just answered his questions. So basically, I left. Next class, he wanted me for a few more minutes. I sat with him. So we ended up becoming a habit. After every class, we sit down, I answer his questions, and I leave. Midterm came, and we were supposed to do a research. And he chose the topics, put them on a piece of paper, and he was telling us the topics. I was so surprised that one of those topics was women in Islam. I was like, yes, it's my chance to teach about Islam in the class. Class is full of students, political science, law, international relations. These are the leaders of the future in this country. It's my chance to teach them about true Islam, not what they see on TV. So, but the paper will start at the beginning of the class. You end up choosing whatever topic you want. By the time the paper reaches the end of the class, you only choose from what's left. So women in Islam was chosen by this tall, blonde, white girl. I knew she was very conservative. To be honest with you, she was a bigot. And I was like, uh-oh, you know what? If God wills it to happen that way, so be it. So I ended up taking feminism. And we left. Time came, and I think the professor, on purpose, chose me and her to be at the same day to give the presentation. So I ended up standing up first. I did my presentation. I did well. I got an A+. And her turn came, and she stood up. And I knew that she's going to start spitting a lot of bad things. But I have to be patient. Plus, I cannot interrupt her. It's just that's the law in the class. It's her turn. She needs to speak whatever she wants. So she stood up as soon as she opened her mouth. Women in Saudi Arabia cannot drive. Women in Saudi Arabia cannot do this. Women in Saudi Arabia cannot do that. I was like, oh my God. The topic is women in Islam, not women in Saudi Arabia. You're changing the topic. Again, I cannot interrupt. But guess who stopped her? The professor. Stood up and said, "Ma'am, stop. I asked you to write about women in Islam, not about women in Saudi Arabia. Second, where did you get your information from?" She said, "I got it from the internet." He said, "You get from the internet anything you lay your hands on? You are in a high level of education. You should know better." First of all, you have to rewrite the topic. I was like, yes. Second, you have to understand and know that women in Islam were given their rights 1400 years ago. Rights that she only got 60 years ago, and you're still fighting for it. Women in Islam were given the right to own property, to divorce, to marry, to inherit. Women in Islam were given the right to even vote and choose the leaders. Women in Islam were given the right. I was like, whoa, whoa. He've done a better job, way much better than I would have done. I was like, thank God for this person who's not even a Muslim standing up defending Islam and Muslims. But in the same time, the tears really coming out of my eyes. I was so touched. And a light bulb came on top of my head, those cartoons, light bulbs. And that gave me the idea of Peace Ambassadors. Why can't we establish an organization? Its main purpose is to reach out, teach about Islam, build bridges, get to know each other, respect each other, learn how to coexist, help each other, work together for the benefit of the betterment, for the whole humanity, learn about each other from each other, and teach these people that Islam is not a religion of terrorism. It does not condone terrorism. It's completely the other way around. Islam teaches us, as the Quran says, killing one innocent soul is like killing a whole nation. Saving one innocent soul is like saving a whole nation. That's what the Quran teaches, not what these people do. Every society has its own bad apples. Those bad apples should not be given the chance to represent the whole faith. 1.8 to up to 2 billion people, 1/4 of the world, do not condone terrorism. And the opposite, they promote peaceful existing, and that's what Muslims, the majority of them, the overwhelming majority are. And that's basically what I did by building bridges with this professor, reaching out to that professor, answering those questions. That professor stood up defending Islam without me saying one word. It's a very touching story that touched my heart, and I wanted to start this series with this story. I hope you liked it. Please make sure you subscribe in our Peace Ambassadors page on YouTube, and also share it with your friends. God bless you. Thank you so much for your time. You take care.